Our study on leading in the hard times, on leading in turbulent times. The most famous police officer in New York City, the most popular police officer in New York City for the last 2 decades is probably Olivia Benson from Law and Order SVU. Won Emmys, won all these awards. And remember, she started off just a lowly detective, but now she's the captain. In fact, she's such a good captain, she's got Ice-T, who used to not like the police. He's one of her lieutenants. And they solve a lot of very hard crimes. In fact, I think they solve every one, every episode. Now, when Mariska Hargitay, the actress, was getting that role, she went to New York City and she shadowed some officers. Some female officers that worked in SVU, and she watched how they treated the victims. She watched how they interrogated the suspect. She was so impressed with several of them that she took parts of their persona and put it into her character. A few years into the show, as she wrapped herself around that role of being a special victims unit, helping with those children that were victims, helping with the rape cases and molestations, just a hard situation to deal with, she started having a real heart for people that were going through that. And so she found herself advocating for rape victims, for children victims, and she started raising money so that different precincts could have more officers. She started raising money and hosting benefits and bringing about awareness. In fact, in Detroit, they were so backed up on these rape kits, there were thousands of them in storage, and they didn't have the personnel or the money to go through them all. And somebody reached out to her, and she got a heart for this. She raised the money, and she found herself going before judges, saying this is a huge injustice. There are victims that deserve justice. There are terrible people walking the streets, and we have evidence, but we don't have the money to process it. And so she raised enough money for thousands of these kits to be tested, and they found out there was more than 200 serial rapists in that area. They would go on to arrest 244 of them. Here, this actress is becoming a real-life hero. We have a calling on our life, and we're not there yet. Some of you have the calling to be like a butterfly, and you're barely a caterpillar. Some of you got dreams of being a big bullfrog, but don't worry. You're being a pollywog right now is going to get you there. When we think about leading through turbulent times, a great example is 1 Samuel chapter 23. It's the story of King David. When he was 15, 16 years old, he was anointed by the great prophet Samuel, the leader of the nation. Anointed him to be king. But there was already a king named Saul. And so David, though anointed, he would fight the giant Goliath. He would marry Saul's daughter, married a princess, befriended Saul's son Jonathan, and he got to live in the palace. But something terrible happened to Saul. The Holy Spirit left him, and an evil spirit came upon him. And that evil spirit made him jealous of David. So David has to flee the palace, flee the royal life, and live in the wilderness. Saul sends assassins after him, sends the army after him, and in chapter 23, this turbulent time in the life of David, hiding in a cave, he finds out about this Israelite city named Keilah. It's surrounded by the Philistines. King Saul should have been fighting the Philistines, but instead he's hunting for David. And David seeks God and says, God, you've anointed to be king. Maybe I should act like a king now. Should